The large space station floated above a silent blue planet, shining like a cold metal giant. Inside its long steel halls, thousands of workers moved like shadows. Some were aliens. Some were humans. But not all were treated the same. Among the humans was a tired mother named Lyra and her small daughter, Nia. Both walked slowly through the station every morning, trying not to draw attention. Their clothes were worn out. Their faces showed stress and fear. They had been living on the station for months, working endless hours for almost nothing. Every day was the same. Every day was harder. The aliens who ran the station, the Vorkan, believed humans were weak. They called them soft ones. They gave them the toughest jobs, the coldest rooms, and the worst food. Humans were not allowed to complain. If someone raised their voice, the Vorkan guards would silence them with harsh punishment. Lyra knew this very well, so she always kept her head down. She tried to protect her daughter in every possible way, even though she had very little strength. On this particular morning, the station felt even colder than usual. The long metal hall echoed with the footsteps of hungry workers moving toward the food distribution zone. Lyra held Nia's small hand gently. The little girl walked slowly, her stomach empty since last night. Nia whispered, "Mama, will we get good food today?" Lyra paused for a moment. She wanted to lie and say yes. She wanted her daughter to feel safe. But she knew the truth. So she only smiled weakly. "We will find something," she whispered back, squeezing Nia's hand. When they reached the food counter, the air already smelled strange, sour, and rotten. Lyra swallowed nervously. She knew this smell. Many humans knew it. It meant expired food. Leftovers from alien kitchens. Sometimes weeks old. Ahead of them, the alien workers passed fresh food to other aliens, clean, hot meals with real nutrients. But the human line received dented cans, gray bread, or spoiled packets that made people sick. Lyra looked away. She didn't want Nia to see her fear. A tall Vorkan worker behind the counter suddenly grinned when Lyra stepped forward. His yellow eyes narrowed with cruel pleasure. "Well," he said loudly, "look who needs breakfast. The soft ones." Other Vorkan nearby laughed. Lyra kept her head down. "Please, food for my daughter." The alien pulled out 2 small ration boxes and slammed them on the counter. When Lyra opened the first one, the smell hit her like a punch. The food inside was greenish and covered in mold. "This is expired," she whispered. The alien leaned forward. "Eat it or go hungry. Soft ones do not get choices." Nia hid behind her mother, covering her nose. The Vorkan tapped the counter impatiently. "Come on, next, move." Lyra picked up the rotten food because she had no other option. She could feel eyes watching her, mostly pity from other humans, but none dared to speak. This cruelty was normal here. As Lyra walked away, holding Nia close, she felt her heart break a little more. She wished she could give her daughter a normal life. She wished she could fight back, but she was only one weak human. And the Vorkan were everywhere, but she did not know someone else had been watching. Someone who hated injustice more than anything. Someone who would not stay silent for long. A human, and he had seen enough. He stepped forward from the shadows, his eyes fixed on the mother and child. The oppression had gone too far. And soon, everything on the station would change. Commander Hale walked through the same steel corridors where the mother and her child had just been humiliated. He was a human, but not like the others. He worked in the upper levels of the station, in the security division. Most humans never reached such positions. Hale had earned it through discipline, quiet strength, and a reputation for not backing down. But even with rank, he had limits. He could not openly challenge the Vorkan rulers, not yet. Still, he observed everything. He watched. He remembered. And today, he had seen something that shook him more than usual. He had watched the Vorkin worker slam expired food in front of the mother and her little girl. He had seen the fear in their eyes. He saw the child hide behind her mother. And he saw the Vorkin laugh. Something inside Holly snapped. He didn't move toward them then. Not immediately. He stayed back, hidden among other workers, letting the scene burn into his mind. Now as he walked, his jaw tightened. His fists clenched. "Enough," he whispered under his breath. Holly wasn't normally an emotional man. He didn't start fights. He didn't act without thinking. But he believed in one thing strongly: no one hurts the innocent, especially children. He followed the mother and daughter at a distance for a moment. He wasn't stalking them. He was studying their condition. The mother walked slowly, struggling to keep herself steady. The child kept coughing softly, as if her stomach was rejecting the old food she had eaten yesterday. Holly felt anger rise inside him like a storm. The station's lights flickered above him. He stopped for a moment, remembering something from his home planet, his mother's words. To be human is to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. He nodded to himself. Today was that day. In a small, quieter hallway, Lyra finally stopped walking. She looked around to make sure no guards were nearby. Then she opened the rotten ration box again and forced herself to take a small bite. Her face twisted in pain. It tasted worse than it smelled, but she needed energy. She needed to work. If she didn't work, the Vorkin would punish both her and Nia. The little girl tugged her sleeve. "Mama, please don't eat that. It's bad." Lyra closed the box. She couldn't let her daughter see her cry, so she looked away. But the tears still came. At that moment, Holly stepped forward from the corner. "You don't have to eat that." Lyra gasped and quickly wiped her tears. Nia hid behind her again. Holly raised both hands to show he meant no harm. His voice was calm, strong, controlled. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here because what they did today was wrong." Lyra stared at him with frightened eyes. "Sir, please, don't get involved. They will punish you." Holly shook his head. "I don't care about punishment. I care that a mother and a child are being treated like garbage." Nia peeked out. "Who are you?" Holly knelt to her level, offering a gentle smile, the kind a child could trust. "My name is Holly. I'm a human, just like you." The child nodded slowly. Lyra whispered, "Why are you helping us? No one ever helps." Holly looked at her with a seriousness that made her hold her breath. "Because someone has to. And because the Vorkin think they can do anything. They think humans are weak." He stood tall again. "They are wrong." For a moment, the hallway was silent. Lyra watched him, unsure what to say. No one had spoken to her like this in months. No one had shown care. Not even other humans, but this man. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't silent. And something about his presence felt powerful, dangerous, even, but in a way that promised hope. Holly looked down the hallway toward the food center where the Vorkin still laughed. "This ends," he said softly. "Soon." Lyra felt a strange sensation, something she hadn't felt in a long time. That hope. That what she didn't know was that Commander Holly was already thinking, already planning. And the Vorkin had no idea a storm was coming. Commander Holly walked away from Lyra and Nia with a heavy mind. Their tired eyes stayed with him like a shadow. He had seen many cruel things on the station, but this forcing a mother and child to eat rotten food felt different. It felt personal. It felt like an attack on everything humans stood for. The metallic doors hissed open as he entered the restricted security wing. Inside, the lights were brighter, the walls cleaner. Alien officers and guards walked in and out, barely noticing the human among them. Holly moved through them with practiced ease. He had learned long ago how to stay invisible among the Vorkin, but today he wasn't here to stay invisible. He entered a small data room, a cold place filled with screens, files, and blinking lights. Only authorized personnel could access these. Systems. Halle typed in his code, scanning through daily reports, shipments, and food logs. He wasn't sure what he was looking for, but he trusted his instincts. Something was wrong. Then he found it. A file labeled Human Allocation, Food Quality Control, marked with a red warning icon. Halle opened it. His eyes narrowed with every line he read. Expired rations distributed intentionally. For behavioral control, reduce resistance. Maintain compliance. His stomach twisted with anger. So it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. The Vorkin wanted humans to stay weak. They believed sick, hungry humans were easier to control. Another line made his jaw lock tightly. Test subjects. Women with dependents show highest compliance levels. Test subjects. Women with dependents. They were experimenting on people like Lyra and Nia. Halle leaned back, running a hand over his face. His heart pounded with rage. He had known the Vorkin were cruel, but this was another level. This was systematic. Planned. Approved by high command. A sudden noise behind him made him stand straight. A small alien worker, a rockling with thin limbs, stared at him nervously. "Sir, you are not supposed to open that file." Halle turned slowly. His voice was calm, but dangerous. "Why? Afraid I'll learn the truth?" The rockling shook violently. "If the Vorkin officers know you saw this, they will punish you. They punish anyone who questions the system." Halle stepped closer. "Do they punish you too?" The small alien looked down. "Yes, they punish everyone, but humans suffer most." Halle studied him. The creature wasn't lying. Fear flooded his eyes. "What else are they planning?" Halle asked. The rockling swallowed hard. "You didn't hear it from me. But the Vorkin Council wants to reduce human food rations even more. They say humans are multiplying too fast. They want control." Hale's fists clenched. "Control. Through starvation. Through children. Through fear." He took a deep breath. His voice low and steady. "Thank you. You said nothing. Understand?" The rockling nodded quickly and scurried away. Halle turned back to the screen, staring at the cruel words again. Every second he read them, his anger sharpened into something more focused. A promise that no more looking away. No more silence. No more waiting. He shut off the screen and left the room, walking with purpose. In the lower levels, Lyra tried to comfort little Nia, who sat curled against her in a cold corner. The mother's stomach growled painfully, but she ignored it. She stroked her daughter's hair slowly, whispering soft words. She didn't know Halle was fighting for her now. She didn't know he had found proof. She didn't know a storm was growing in the heart of one human, but she felt something was changing. Nia lifted her head. "Mama!" "That man, Halle, do you think he will help us?" Lyra smiled sadly. "I don't know, my love. Humans help when they can, but we are small here." Nia nodded, trying to be brave. In another part of the station, Halle headed toward the command deck with fire in his step. Small? Maybe, but humans had something the Vorkin could never control, a human heart. And Halle was about to show them what that truly meant. Asterisk. The station lights dimmed into a cold gray as Lyra and Nia reached the work sector. The giant machines hummed loudly. Hot steam burst from pipes. Heavy gears moved like angry beasts. Humans worked here for long hours, lifting crates, repairing machines, and cleaning dangerous vents. It was the worst part of the station. Lyra took her place near a broken furnace panel. Her whole body felt weak. The expired food sat heavy in her stomach, making her dizzy, but she forced herself to stand. She had no choice. Nia sat in a corner nearby, too young to work, but not allowed to leave the area. Her small chest rose and fell quickly, each breath tight. She was hungry, tired. A loud clang echoed behind them. A Vorkin supervisor entered the sector. His tall, sharp body cast a long shadow across the room. His dark armor made him look like a walking blade. His name was Supervisor Koran. Feared by all humans. Every worker froze. Koran walked straight toward Lyra and kicked her broken furnace panel. "Why is this not fixed?" he barked. Lyra bowed her head. "Sir, I tried. I am weak today." "The food." Before she could finish, Koran slapped her across the face. Hard. Nia screamed. "Mama!" Lyra fell to the ground, her cheek burning red. She tried to get up, but Koran placed his foot on her shoulder, pinning her down like she was nothing. "You humans always have excuses," he growled. "Eat better, work harder." Lyra's voice shook. "We get expired rations." Koran pressed harder with his foot. "And you will eat whatever we give you." Nia ran forward, trying to pull Koran's leg away from her mother. "Stop. Stop hurting her." Koran looked down at the little girl with disgust. Filthy little human. He lifted his boot as if ready to kick the child. Workers around them froze in horror. Some looked away, others trembled. No one moved. No one dared except one person. A voice cut through the air like thunder. "That's enough." Koran slowly turned. Commander Hale stood in the entrance of the work sector, his eyes cold and blazing with anger. He stepped forward, each footstep firm and steady. Koran laughed when he saw the human officer. "Commander Hale, this sector is under Vorkan authority." Leave. Hale ignored his words. He looked at Lyra on the ground, shaking. He looked at Nia standing between her mother and the alien like a tiny shield. His jaw tightened. "Let them go." Koran smirked. "Or what? You are only one human." Hale stepped closer. "One is enough." The room fell silent. Every human. Workers stared. Every breath froze. No one had ever spoken to a Vorkan supervisor like this. Koran's eyes narrowed. "You dare to command me?" Hale's voice was calm, but sharp as a blade. "You hurt a woman who can barely stand. You threatened a child, and I know about the expired rations. The files, your plans." Koran stiffened. "You accessed restricted data?" Hale didn't blink. "I did." Koran pushed Lyra aside and stepped forward aggressively. "You think your rank protects you?" "No," Hale replied. "My humanity does." Koran raised his arm to strike Hale, but Hale moved first. He grabbed Koran's wrist midair, twisting it with controlled force. The alien gasped as pain shot through him. Hale didn't attack further. He simply held him in place, showing strength without violence, a message, a warning. Koran's eyes widened. He had underestimated the human. Hale leaned closer and spoke quietly so only the alien could hear. "Touch the mother or child again, and you will regret it." Koran pulled his arm back, furious but hesitant. The humans in the room watched with silent awe, for the first time in a long time. Someone stood up for them. Hale turned to Lyra and Nia. "Come with me. You're safe now." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Nia held Hale's hand tightly. And in that moment, Hale knew one thing. This wasn't just a small incident anymore. This was war. A war he was now ready to fight. Commander Hale walked ahead, with firm steps, guiding Lyra and Nia through the work sector's long metallic corridor. His fists were tight, his muscles tense. He didn't look back, he didn't need to. He could feel every pair of human eyes watching him. For the first time on the station, those eyes were filled not with fear, but with hope. Lyra held Nia close. As they followed him, her cheek still burned from the slap. Her legs trembled, but she felt something strange and new inside her chest, something she hadn't felt in months. Safety. Hale finally stopped near a medical bay door. He turned and knelt down to Nia's level. "Are you hurt?" he asked softly. The little girl shook her head but clung to his arm. "Mama is hurt." "I know," Hale said. "I'll take care of her." Lyra's voice cracked. "Why? Why?" Are you helping us? Holly looked into her tired eyes. Because someone should have helped you a long time ago. Before Lyra could answer, the corridor lights flashed red. A sharp alarm echoed. Vorkin reinforcements were coming. Hall stood up slowly, his face becoming calm too calm. Nia gasped and grabbed her mother's hand. Mama, the bad aliens are coming. Lyra stepped forward, frightened. Holly, we must hide. If they see you with us. Holly shook his head. No more hiding. The heavy doors at the end of the corridor opened, and 3 armed Vorkin guards marched toward them. Their armor gleamed under the harsh lights. Their long rifles hummed with energy. The leader pointed at Holly. You, human officer. Step away from the subjects. Subjects. They always use that word. As if humans were tools, objects, not lives. Hale's jaw tightened. He took 1 step forward, shielding the mother and child behind him. I won't move. The guard's voice deepened. You interfere with Vorkin discipline. Holly stared directly into his yellow eyes. I interfere with cruelty. The Vorkin guards spread out, blocking every pathway. Their boots hit the floor loudly, echoing like thunder in the corridor. Lyra whispered nervously. Holly, please, you must not fight them. I'm not fighting, Holly said calmly. I'm standing. The guard lifted his weapon. Then you risk termination. Holly stepped closer. Do it. Shoot me in front of every human in this sector. Let them see how you treat the people who keep this station running. The guard hesitated, not because he feared Holly, but because Hale's words were dangerous. If humans saw a high-ranking human officer murdered for protecting a child, resistance could rise. Trouble could spread, and Vorkin hated trouble. One guard whispered to another, We cannot kill him here. Too many workers will talk. Holly overheard. His lips curved into a small, cold smile. Exactly. The guard leader growled. You think you are clever, human. Holly stared at him with absolute confidence. I think I am right. Silence filled the corridor. Humans from nearby work areas slowly stepped closer, watching. Their faces were pale, hungry, weak, but their eyes were wide. For months they had bent under cruelty. But now they saw something different. A human standing tall. A human refusing to bow. A human facing the aliens without fear. One human. Just one. And it was enough to make the guards uneasy. Holly raised his voice, letting it echo through the hall so every worker could hear. You starve mothers. You torment children. You make humans eat expired scraps like animals. And you think no one will stand against you. He took another step forward. You are wrong. The guard leader slammed the butt of his rifle on the ground. Commander Holly, you are out of line. Holly didn't blink. So punish me. The guard hesitated again. Too many humans were watching. Too many whispers had already begun. Holly knew it. He was using it. Finally, the Vorkin guard spat angrily. Fine. You will be reported to High Command. Your rank will be reviewed. Holly nodded calmly. Do what you must. The guards marched away, frustrated. The corridor fell silent. Again, Lyra covered her mouth in shock. Nia squeezed Hale's hand, eyes shining with admiration. Humans around them stared, some trembling, some whispering, all amazed. Holly turned to them. This is only the beginning. He looked at Lyra. Come, I won't let them hurt you again. And as they walked away, dozens of humans watched with new fire in their hearts. A single human had stood up, and the entire station had felt the shift. The station felt different after Hale's confrontation. The metal walls still hummed with machines, the lights still flickered coldly, but something invisible had changed, something the Vorkin could not fully sense, but every human felt. A spark of courage. Holly led Lyra and Nia through a quieter corridor. He kept them close while he planned his next move in his head. He knew the Vorkin guards would not stay silent for long. Reporting him to High Command meant trouble was coming. But that didn't scare him. What scared him was the thought of Lyra and Nia suffering again. He couldn't let that happen. They reached a security checkpoint where a single Rockling technician worked. The same one Holly met earlier in the data. Room. When the small alien saw Holly, he froze, trembling. "Commander, you shouldn't be here. The Vorkin, they are angry." Holly stepped closer. "I need access to the public feed." The Rockling's eyes widened. "The public broadcast system? That is forbidden." Holly leaned down, his voice steady but not threatening. "Lives are at risk. I know you understand that." The Rockling hesitated. His thin fingers shook. But then he nodded slowly. Yes, I will help." He tapped a few buttons, and the door to the broadcast chamber slid open. He turned to Lyra. "Stay here with Nia. I won't be long." Lyra grabbed his arm, eyes full of worry. "Holly, please be careful." Holly smiled, but it wasn't his normal calm smile. It was the smile of someone who already accepted danger. "I will." Then he stepped inside. The broadcast chamber was a circular room with a large console in the center and a giant screen facing dozens of hidden cameras. It controlled messages across the entire station: alerts, orders, announcements. And today, something new. Truth. Holly moved fast. He activated the console and pulled up the files he had copied earlier. The reports of expired rations. The cruel notes about starving humans. The experiment logs. All of it. The system flashed warnings. Authorized personnel only. Access restricted. Punishable by termination. Holly ignored every warning. He uploaded the files into a public channel. Then he activated the microphones. "Attention. Residents of Station V9. Holly began, his voice echoing through speakers across the giant station. Humans stopped working. Aliens paused mid-step. Everyone turned toward the nearest screen. Even Lyra and Nia froze outside the door. "This is Commander Hull." His voice continued. "I have discovered the truth behind the food rationing. Humans are being fed expired supplies on purpose." Gasps spread across work sectors. Vorkin guards looked at each other uncertainly. Holly continued. "You are being starved to keep you weak. You are being controlled through fear. Even children are suffering. Families are treated like experiments." He pressed a button, projecting the hidden documents onto every screen. Lines of cruel text scrolled past. "Use rotten rations for behavioral control. Target humans with dependence for maximum compliance. Weakness reduces revolt risk." Humans everywhere stared in horror. Some cried. Some whispered prayers. Some clenched their fists. Holly spoke again, voice strong, unwavering. "We will not accept this anymore. Humans deserve dignity. Humans deserve food, safety, and justice. And I will fight for that." Suddenly, the broadcast room door slammed open. Supervisor Kareen stormed in with 5 armed guards. "Turn it off, now." Holly stood tall, refusing to back down. "You're too late," Corin roared. "Arrest him." Guards rushed forward, but the screen behind Holly flickered, showing something unexpected. Humans gathering. Humans standing. Humans refusing to return to work. Humans shouting, "No more rotten food. Stop hurting our children. We stand with Holly." The station shook not from machines, but from voices. Corin stared at the screens, shocked. What have you done?" Holly met his gaze, calm and fearless. "I told the truth." Corin lunged, but Holly stepped aside, grabbing his wrist and twisting it just like before, only harder. Corin gasped in pain. Holly whispered, voice cold, "You can't stop what's coming." While Corin struggled, a guard hesitated. Then, another. The spark Holly lit was already spreading. Even the aliens could feel it. Outside, Lyra hugged Nia tight, tears in her eyes. She whispered, "He did it. He really did it." And on that day, for the first time in station history, humans stood united. The turning point had arrived. Everything on the station was about to change. Chaos spread through the station like fire. But it wasn't fear burning through the corridors, it was awakening. Humans everywhere stopped working. They stepped away from machines, tools, and loading docks. They gathered in groups, whispering, staring at the screens that still showed Hale's broadcast. Some cried at the truth. Some trembled with anger. Some held their children close. But all shared the same feeling. Enough. Lyra stood at the front of one crowd, Nia holding her hand tightly. The little girl's eyes were wide, reflecting the glowing screen showing Hale's message. "Mama," she whispered. "Everyone is standing now." Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, he gave them courage. Inside the broadcast chamber, Haile still stood tall. Koran was on his knees, clutching his twisted arm. The Vorkin. Guards around him were frozen, uncertain. Never before had humans united like this. Never before had one human officer challenged the entire system. Hatred filled Koran's voice. You have ruined everything." Haile shook his head. "No, I fixed what should never have been broken." The guards aimed their weapons, but none fired. Haile looked each one in the eye. "You can shoot me," he said softly, "but then the entire station will rise against you. Humans will not stay silent anymore." One guard slowly lowered his rifle. Another followed. The last guard hesitated, then dropped his weapon to the floor with a loud clang. Koran stared in disbelief. "Traitors!" "No," one guard replied, voice shaken. "This is wrong. We were never told children were being harmed." Haile stepped forward. "It's over, Koran." Suddenly, the station speakers crackled again. A robotic voice echoed. "Attention! Vorkin High Command vessel approaching. Estimated arrival, 5 minutes." Everyone froze. Koran's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Now you will see what true power is human." Haile clenched his jaw but did not step back. He knew High Command meant danger. But he also knew something else. He was not alone. He turned to the screen that showed hundreds, no, thousands of humans gathering across the station. Not one was working anymore. Not one was bending. They were tired, hungry, weak, but united. Haile spoke into the mic. "One last time. All humans, listen closely. High Command is coming. When they arrive, they will expect fear. Do not give it to them." He looked at the crowd, then at the people nearest him. "Stand together. Protect one another. Show them what humanity truly is." 5 minutes later, the giant Vorkin command ship docked with a thunderous vibration. Elites in black armor stormed inside the station. But the moment they entered the main hall, they stopped. Humans were everywhere, lined up, on every level, shoulder to shoulder. Parents protecting children, workers standing tall, faces steady, eyes unbroken, a presence High Command had never expected. Koran hurried toward them, shouting, "Arrest the humans. Arrest Haile, they are rebelling." But the High Command leader raised his hand. Silence fell. He looked at Haile and at the humans behind him. Then at Koran. "Why?" the leader asked coldly. "Are there children starving on this station? Why? Are humans receiving expired food?" Koran stuttered. We needed control." The leader struck him hard across the face. "You have shamed the Vorkin. This is not discipline. This is cruelty." Koran fell to the ground, stunned. The leader turned to Haile. "Human, you exposed this. Why risk yourself?" Haile answered with calm strength. "Because a mother and child were suffering. Because humans deserve dignity. Because silence is a choice I refuse to make." The hall remained silent for a long moment. Then the Vorkin leader spoke. "Effective immediately. Koran is removed from command. All abusive policies are terminated. Humans will receive standard food rations and safety protections." A wave of gasps filled the hall. Nia whispered, "Mama, we're safe?" Lyra knelt beside her, tears falling. "Yes, my love. We're safe now." Holly stepped forward. "One more thing. Lyra and Nia need medical assistance and live in quarters away from the work sectors." The Vorkan leader nodded. "Granted." Holly exhaled, relief washing over him. Later, as Lyra and Nia sat in a warm room eating their first fresh meal in months, Holly leaned against a wall, watching quietly. The little girl waved at him with a bright smile. "Thank you," she said. Holly smiled back. Humans look after each other, always. And that day, across the entire station, one truth was whispered. Again and again, when one human stands, the universe remembers.